Hello. It occurs to me that I've seen many lighthouses over the years in many of my travels and adventures. We often seem to be at the east coast or the west coast by the ocean or perhaps the Gulf of Mexico, and there always seems to be some lighthouses around. So in my adventures, I often try to visit them and see them and go into them if I can. Now, I started making my own videos back in 1975. I got my first color camera in 1976, but it wasn't really a portable color camera. It was kind of a big, bulky studio camera. But I wanted to take it outside and get some scenic views with it. So I managed to hook it up to a car battery with an adapter and my reel-to-reel tape recorder. I plugged into that adapter and I was able to record video from my car for a little while anyway. And so I headed up to Maine. Now, the Noble Lighthouse is on this little island, and it's not open to the public, but you can see it pretty well. And this is the rather crude video that I got with that hookup, with that setup that I had. I guess I didn't see another lighthouse for almost 20 years. In 1994, we were visiting friends on Hilton Head Island, and there's a lighthouse there, and we were hoping to actually go up inside of it.
Now we're gonna go over here and climb up on top of that thing and see what kind of a view we can get from up there. Well, it's closed right now, so we can't go up there. This is the harbor area here. These huge cabin cruisers out here. We're on Hilton Head Island.
Hilton Head Island, the harbor.
The harbor of it, yeah. And then probably can see the lighthouse behind us, where we tried to go to the top of it, but they wouldn't let us do it because it was closed.
Now, later that year, we were up in Acadia National Park. We saw the lighthouse at Bass Harbor and got fairly close to it.
That's a little better view of the lighthouse. Everybody's trying to get shots of the sunset, I think.
And almost 10 years passed after that before we saw another lighthouse. This was on the West Coast. We were visiting Linda's sister in Washington State, and we came across this lighthouse. And this one was open to the public, and we were able to go up inside. And we saw quite a flock of birds passing by the lighthouse. Later that year, we drove up to Booth Bay Harbor in Maine, and on the way we passed that same Noble Lighthouse that I saw in 1976, but it happened to be a very, very foggy day. The year after that, we were out on the West Coast again, visiting family, but we wanted to make it more interesting, so we drove down the coast to California to see the redwoods. And on the way down, we passed through Oregon and Cape Blanco, and they had a lighthouse there that we stopped to see. And when we got to California, we stopped at Crescent City for a couple of days and saw the lighthouse there. What time of the morning? It's fairly early in the morning, low tide. As you can see, there's low tide. But of course, at high tide, you cannot go to this lighthouse here, which I guess is called Battery Point Lighthouse.
I think so.
We think. Let's get a zoom in on it really. Walking up to the lighthouse. I guess we can't get in. There's a door on the sign on the door that says closed.
So sometimes it's open, isn't it?
Anybody up there at the top?
And now let's jump ahead to 2017. This was our 25th wedding anniversary, and we headed to the Hawaiian Islands, our favorite island, Kauai. And while we were there, we wanted to do some snorkeling, and we did have some fun, quite a bit of fun snorkeling on Kauai. And the best place to snorkel on that island is the North Shore. So we headed up there, and on the way we passed the Killer Whale Lighthouse. We wanted to see that too. But unfortunately, it was a Sunday, and that lighthouse is not open to the public on Sunday. And as a matter of fact, you can't even get any closer than this. This is as close as we could get to it. And later that year, we were back in the Pacific Northwest, and we saw Cape Meares Lighthouse. Oh no, we can't go inside. Disappointed. All right, I guess we can't. Someone is up there having their. Oh, there are people up there.
It's a private tour.
But it's a private party up there.
On our way back from a trip to Maine, we went to the Pemaquid Point Lighthouse. And this happened to be open to the public, and we went up inside. Very interesting. And we got a ladder now. I have to go up this ladder now. Ooh. Good look out the window, I guess. Pemaquid Point Lighthouse. Spiral staircase. And I had my Spark drone with me, and I think I got some pretty good aerial footage of the area. Now last year, in the winter, we wanted to get away from the cold Northeast, and so we took a trip to Florida, visited friends and family in the Fort Myers area. And while on Sanibel Island, there's a lighthouse there, I was able to fly my Spark and got some really pretty good shots of the lighthouse. And still another Maine trip that year brought us back to the Nubble Lighthouse. And this time, it was completely covered over. Not much to see. Okay, here we are. This is Nubble Lighthouse. As you can see, it's all covered up. We're at the Nubble Lighthouse, and it's all covered up. So and there were a lot of people here, and it's starting to rain. So I'm not going to fly the drone this time. So maybe we'll come back some other time.
Yes, we will.
Well, that brings us up to this year. And again, in the early months of the year when it was pretty cold around here, we wanted to get away from the Northeast, and we headed down to Florida again, to this Fort Myers area again. And this is not actually probably a lighthouse, but it's a tower, and it has a light in it. And I had my drone out flying it, and so I got some pretty good shots. It's really part of the Gulf Harbor Yacht and Country Club in Fort Myers. And just a couple of months ago, we went to Martha's Vineyard. Now, Martha's Vineyard has 5 lighthouses on it, and we were able to see 4 of the 5. And that was pretty good, I think. And it was before Memorial Day, so they were not open to the public, but we got pretty close to them. Well, I believe that covers all of the lighthouses I've seen since 1976. Next month, we're going on another trip to the Pacific Northwest, to the San Juan Islands. I don't think there are really any lighthouses right there, but I'll keep an eye open. But hope to get some other scenic views. We might even see some killer whales. So hopefully you enjoyed watching this video, and you'll come back and see us next time. And thanks very much for watching.